Everyone, welcome. We'll start a committee of the whole meeting. I know we've got a great presentation from our friends at the City of Grand Rapids, so we'll invite you up to the podium. It looks like the microphone is on, so we'll turn it over to you at this point.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for having us. My name is Molly Claren. I'm the acting CFO for the City of Grand Rapids. With me is Janessa Carter. She's the acting utility financial officer. And this is the 2019 rate study. I've never gotten to address your body before. So first of all, thank you for the invitation to come out and meet you. We are in a agreement with the City of Walker. The water and sewer systems for the City of Grand Rapids is actually a network that extends through 11 different customer communities. You're one of our customer communities, or what we prefer to say is partner communities. We have a 30-year agreement for water and sewer service with you. You're a retail customer. And every 5 years, we have an evergreen clause in this agreement where we renew it just to extend out 30 years. Our current agreement extends out through 2048, right? 49. Yeah, we just renewed from 2043 through 48. The reason we do the 30-year planning is there's significant infrastructure and planning that goes into running a water and sewer system. So should a community, especially your size, choose to leave the system, it's, we need to plan for that. Same with your community. You need to plan to provide for your own treatment or your own delivery of water. So that's one. I get that question, why 30 years? But when you consider the investment, that's what it takes. I'll explain. This is our rate recommendation. As a partner community, you are a member of the Utility Advisory Board. I've known Daryl since I started at the city 5 years ago. He sits on the board representing the City of Walker. Every partner community has representation there, as well as city staff. This includes your water director, sewer director, myself representing the finance element in Janessa, and then our deputy city manager. So work in cooperation. We talk about different issues like major construction projects. I'm sure you've heard about the biodigester. We'll talk a little bit about that this evening. And, big happenings like that. And if there's ever any questions that come back to us from, a community like yours, we'll discuss it there, provide feedback back to, a body like yours. So. This is a history. This is the overall rate changes for the water and sewer systems for the past 15 years. The 2019 line is highlighted. You'll see for the water supply system, for the system as a whole, we are estimating a 2.47% rate increase. Compared to the average over the last 15 years, it's been 2.08. A lot of this has to do with the system's ability to we're using less water. We've been wiser with our infrastructure investments. That's why we've been able to hold down the rate increases. Just in the last few years, we're starting to feel the effects of, less build volume going into the system. So it's affecting how much revenue we can collect. So we still have to cover our costs. We're realizing that's caused some rate upward pressure. For the sewer system, overall, we're looking at a 3.49% increase for the system as a whole. This is slightly lower than our average, the 5.26% over the past 15 years. You'll see some particularly high years back in 2000, between 2005 and 9. This is related to the CSO investment we've done at the City of Grand Rapids, the separation of the combined sewer outflows. So actually those increases mainly were placed upon the city. It didn't affect you as the City of Walker, but it fed into the overall increase. We also lost a customer community back then. That was the North Kent area. They chose to separate their sewer system and do their own treatment. These are the building blocks. So at the end of the fiscal year, which is June 2030, we start the rate study. We close down the fiscal year, and these are the building blocks that create the rates. The green boxes there, those are the cost inputs O&M, how much it costs to operate the water and sewer system. Then we have an asset element that calculates depreciation on our infrastructure as well as the return on investment. The third box there is, I talked about CSO, so we have, for the city of Grand Rapids, special rate costs that go into their revenue requirement for that CSO investment, as well as certain payback agreements sometimes we'll set up with partner communities. For example, we just completed one with the city of Kentwood where they wanted to purchase, put in significant more infrastructure, and we entered into a 4-year payback where instead of them paying for it in their rates all in 1 year, we did it over 4, just to help smooth out their rates. Those blue boxes are revenue expectations or credits against the system. Revenue credits include things we get like tapping fees, permitting, and then the city and customer community circuit breaker. We'll talk about this more later, but that is penalty revenue we get back for in the retail communities. Final element is build volume. And that's generally just what is used in the system that we collect our monthly charge and our commodity rate for. So, well, it would just be the commodity. So, starting with build volume, here's how the system performed. The 2019 water volume is up 0.26 over 2018. 3-year average we use actually when we calculate what we expect for revenue, 3-year average of usage. We started using that, that's the black line on these charts, just because we felt just using the previous year was too reactionary. It's not a great expectation of what is going to happen in the next year, so we use a 3-year average when we calculate revenue expectation. And you'll see that particularly with the water system, how it kind of smooths out those peaks and valleys, so you don't get what I call rate shock, high swings up and down. For the sewer system, that 3-year average was up 1.04 over the previous year. And please stop me anytime if I've never visited you guys before, so I'm trying to be, thorough. But if there are more questions, I live and breathe this. I understand you don't, so please stop me. I'd rather have this be more, conversational if that helps your understanding of this. So. I try to explain this to my husband sometimes, and he's in IT too, but I don't understand him either, but that's a whole other thing, so. All right, so now that we've discussed all those factors, these are the major upward pressure, downward pressure on rates for this year's rate study. Here's, first we're going to talk about water. The water utility, for O&M, we are doing investment, staffing and benefits always cause an upward pressure. People cost more year to year due to union contracts. We did experience some savings with our benefits just through negotiation packages. We had electrical savings costs, and we are doing further investment in advanced metering program. That's putting, basically instead of having meter readers that go door to door, we're starting to explore doing a program, or we're going down the road of putting up towers and being able to radio in, build volume reads. So it'll create efficiencies in the long term, but short term, we're just getting started on it, doing a pilot project this year. So that was one of our costs. We also have this construction in progress category. This is maintenance on some of our assets in the system that don't qualify to become part of an asset or capitalized. So we recognize them here in O&M. Integrated connection fees are slightly down this year. We reduced the fee about 1.5 years ago for connections into the water and sewer system. We're still experiencing the effects of that. Assets, ROI and depreciation, as I mentioned before. We're adding more infrastructure into the system. It's, going to cause upward pressure. That's a usual thing. And circuit breaker credits on here this year. We're using, and again, I'll explain it in a minute, but it's basically the penalty revenue that we applied back towards rates. We have less of it this year, so that caused the rates to go up. Our revenue credits are up this year, so that helped, pull rates back down. Our next slide, again, we have that construction progress category and staffing that's caused upward pressure. Advanced meter program, that's also applied to the sewer system. Contractual services and temp services are up, but we had significant electrical cost savings, which helped. The return on investment and depreciation, more investment into the system. We are preloading rates this year with part of the biodigester project. So $30 million has been loaded into rates just as a way to offset what our expectation for next year. And then decreases, we no longer have one of our payback this Kentwood payback agreement I mentioned earlier. That came off of rates. That only applies to Kentwood rates, but overall it caused the system average to come down. Integrated revenues were slightly up from last year for the sewer system, and then CSO debt service, we apply that directly against Grand Rapids rates. That was slightly lower this year, so that helped. So the biodigester project. And I'm not sure how much you want to go into the biodigester project, but basically the project's estimated at $85.3 million total. This includes the biodigester, which is about $57.3 million. That's per our agreement with Crispin. And then that's our not to exceed. And then we have RNG is renewable natural gas. So we added that onto the project last fall. The phosphorus is budgeted here at $7.6 million. I'm pleased to announce we actually got the bids back today, and we're saving about $500,000 on that one. That was the only part of this project that came in under budget, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then we have the engineering element. Changes in the project. Originally, this project wasn't estimated to cost this much. I believe when we first started talking about the biodigester, we were around $30 million, and the project grew. A lot of it had to do with the RINs market, the cost, the price we would sell that natural gas for. The renewable energy market has taken a downturn in the last year. A lot of it is a result of the Trump tax exemptions given to oil companies. So now oil's more easier to buy, so it hurt renewable energies. And we do have more additional firm pricing at this point, so we are confident we will stay underneath that $85.3 million, and also has about $2 million built-in contingency. And the timing of the completion of the project we've had delays because when the main driver with bid pack 3 on the biodigester, when it went from $30 million up to this $57 million, that caused delays because we had to go back and value engineer things. We also had some delays with delivery of the RNG equipment. So that, time is money when you're putting things in the ground. So when it comes to phasing in of the rates, I mentioned we recommend putting $30 million of this project into the rate base now to help offset next year. That's for a Grand Rapids resident. I'm sorry, I didn't calculate this out for the city of Walker, but it'll be $3.16 or $13 per year for Grand Rapids resident. Walker rates behave, you're very similar to the Grand Rapids, so I suspect it's slightly less. We can get you that exact calculation so what is your estimated impact of taking on your allocation of the $30 million. 2021 rates will be determined based on the project timing. So we could theorize on what we expect next year's rates to be. In the paper, they were saying overall system would be 11%, and that's based on a very rough estimate we calculated last September. Lots of things are moving in this project. We're hoping for a rebound of the RINs market. We're hoping us to be able to pick up efficiencies on the timing of the project. So We do know, though, it's going to be a step up before we start realizing revenue and savings as a result of doing biodigestion and renewable gas. So, again, we're going to be partners with you on this and keep you updated. And, yeah, so rate savings in the future. We expect significant electrical cost savings at the plant. It's one of the reasons we started doing this originally. We're also doing this because the system was facing the decision, do we expand our treatment operation out at the plant, or do we go on this other path and pursue other alternative methods for treatment, like biodigestion? Engineers estimate that doing a plant expansion is going to cost us around 150 million to 160. Doing biodigestion, even though this project has grown significantly from our earlier inception, it is still cheaper than having to do a full plant expansion. So I know that's a lot for the biodigestion. You guys with me? Okay.
I got a question.
Sure.
Now, once this up and running, is it going to be operated by the city of Grand Rapids?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all the equipment, and if any of you would ever like to come out, it's pretty neat. Come out to the site and see these big digesters up and the equipment. It's for that amount of money, it's significant infrastructure, and it's all located right alongside the treatment operation, our traditional treatment operation. So you can take a tour and see it. It's yeah, pretty cool.
And Molly, isn't there a live camera also showing the construction project going on, so which is available?
I can provide the link, or you probably have it there, but we can send you the link to the site where they have live camera on it, and you can actually go back to where it was a year ago and then fast forward and see it grow throughout the year.
Yeah, so I have a question. Sure. I don't know a ton about the biodigesters or the process or anything of that, but I have heard of some other local municipalities having some issues with that process, and I'm just wondering, have we been able to take any lessons learned from that in the process of taking that on for ourselves, or?
Absolutely. So before we entered into this, it seems like there were headlines on mold and odor control, and so how could we even be thinking of that? That has been a paramount element of this project, actually. Lowell didn't put in a proper odor control processing. That is in the design. It's being constructed, so it shouldn't be. If you go out to the wastewater treatment plant, it smells a little already, but anything related to digestion, it isn't designed. It's been designed to avoid the problems that Lowell experienced. So yeah, that's a good question.
Hey, Molly, would you mind hitting, there's a button right in the middle there that'll turn that light red.
Oh. This one? Oh.
There we go, thank you.
Did it?
We're good.
Oh, okay, sorry. Maybe, was my time up? Is that? Instead of wrapping up music, you guys have the red light, maybe.
It's so good.
Sure. Any other questions before I move forward? Okay. So the circuit breaker I've mentioned before, this is the penalty revenue we collect off the retail customers. It's for late fees on bill payment, things like that. We take 87.5% of that and apply that directly back to the retail partner community rates. So this helps bring you back down to the system average. So in the rate study, we calculate revenue requirement for every 11 different partner communities based on their asset allocation of shared or infrastructure that only is located out in their area, which we call non-integrated, integrated and non-integrated infrastructure. So when we calculate those individual rates, we apply this penalty revenue back against your rates to bring it down to as close as we can to the system average with this available revenue. So the available revenue this year was $843,000, and then the rest that penalty. Oh no,
Thank you, Molly.
Yeah.
Commissioners, questions, comments, feedback from Molly or Janessa?
Yeah, I just want to thank these two for coming out and explaining. It's a very complicated, and it takes years to understand how these are the rates are developed, and I know I don't have a handle on it yet, and Scott's been to a million of the UAB meetings as well, and, but the staff at Grand Rapids has done a fantastic job, looking out for all the partner communities, and really appreciate the work they've done there and continue to do for us, so.
Yeah, and if there's ever questions or, committee meetings, anything like that, we're always happy to come out because it is, it is a complicated, it takes us four months to calculate, so I can only imagine when you only visit it once a year, it's like, oh yeah, this, how did that work? So we're happy to come by.
I think we are good, Molly. Thank you. Thank you, Janessa. Appreciate you coming out. All right, we're at 6:56, 6:57. If anybody needs a quick refill or otherwise, you've got a couple minutes to do so. So you have your stuff? What? So do you have your stuff? All right, we have 7 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call our regular city commission meeting to order. I'd like to ask Commissioner Heisinger to deliver the invocation, please.
Will you pray with me? Dear Heavenly Father, as we enter into this Christmas season, may it be a reminder to all of us about the birth of Jesus. Lord, please watch over all of our city employees over this holiday season. Please keep a special watch over those who may spend this holiday season for the first time by themselves. Watch over our police officers and firefighters that protect our city and keep them protected from harm. Please grant us wisdom and peace to us tonight and into the future as we are the voice of the city. In your name, amen.
I'd like the audience to invite you to please join and rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and if I could ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Mayor Carey,
Present?
Commissioner Gilbert. Present. Commissioner Kent,
Present.
Commissioner DeShane,
Present.
Commissioner Glanville,
Present.
Commissioner Groders,
Present.
Commissioner Heisinger.
Present.
And next on the agenda is the approval of our November 25th commission meeting minutes. Unless there's any questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll make that motion.
Motion from Commissioner DeShane. Do we have a second?
Support.
Support from Commissioner Groders. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Minutes are approved. Next on the list is public comment on agenda items. I'll open that up for anybody that's in the audience for that. Public comment on agenda items only. Going once, going twice. All right. Then we have presentations and proclamations. I understand we have our Citizen Award presentation.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to come out. As you're aware, we have a pretty robust award process within the agency. Tonight, though, we get the opportunity to actually really celebrate what this award process means to us, and we get to recognize two citizens that actually stepped out and went above and beyond in assisting our agency, our officers, and we actually have the person that they assisted here with us as well. This process includes the opportunity for our officers, any staff member, to submit nominations to our awards board to request this recognition. So Corporal Maley is here this evening. He'll be doing the emceeing for us on this awards because he was on scene and completed the nomination for us. So I'm going to turn it over to Corporal Maley to fill us in.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
So we have Brittany and Deborah Gossett here, which are not residents of Walker, one of Kalamazoo and one of Allendale, and they decided to come here to our city to watch a movie. It's mother and daughter. So I will read the memo that I typed up regarding this incident, and then we also have Donna Zamitis here. Hi, Donna. I just talked to you on the phone. So on October 11th, 2019, myself and Officer Tiffany Elliott responded to a medical call involving an unconscious person in the driver's seat of a running vehicle. Upon arrival, officers contacted the callers, Brittany and Deborah Gossett. They were on their way to see a movie when they observed an individual in distress within their vehicle. They pulled over and checked on them and realized they were having a serious medical issue, so they tried to enter the vehicle to render aid. When this could not be done, they called 911 for help. While waiting for help arrive, they stood by with the individual and warned other motorists to steer clear of the area. Brittany and Deborah's actions that day ensured that the individual received timely treatment, which enabled them to make a full recovery and aided in the prevention of additional serious incidents that could have occurred in this heavily congested traffic area, which was the Alpine and Center area at the height of rush hour. Due to this, they have been selected by the Board of Awards to receive a Citizen Award for their actions. Can you guys come up? Here, Brittany.
Thank you.
Donna, do you want to come up? They have not met yet.
Oh,
They have met Donna. Donna has not met them. So,
I owe so much to you. I wouldn't be here today if it wouldn't be for you. Because I was in the
Oh,
coma.
she's gonna make me cry.
You was with your mother?
I was, yeah. We were going to see a movie.
Oh, right there.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I sure appreciate what you did.
That was my mom's. My mom's name is Donna. She passed away at that time 3 months ago.
Really?
So it was kind of complete.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Can I get a picture of you three together?
Yes, I'm standing in the
Would you
middle.
mind getting in there?
well, sure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So Brittany and Deborah, before you get out of here, I'll give you a minute. If you would indulge a very grateful city commission, we love to have when, these don't happen very often, but when they do come up, it's something very special to us to be able to recognize you. We would consider an honor and privilege. If you wouldn't mind a quick loop, feel free to come around the side there, come up. We'd like to each one of us shake your hands, say thank you on behalf of our city. So, sound good?
But now, anytime I go out to drive, I take my shirt first.
And a special thank you to the Zamitis family for coming out. We come to expect this from Corporal Malley and Officer Elliott, so that's not a surprise that they nominated and put you up for this. But glad to see you're in great health on behalf of the city, and thank you again to both Deborah and Brittany. I mean, what a great story. So thank you
in
very much.
our awards board, we have recommendations, and then our awards board is comprised of different disciplines within the agency. So they fully recommended that our two heroes here receive nomination for Citizen Award. So our Citizen Award presented this evening says, in appreciation for your invaluable efforts to the Walker Police Department and to the citizens of the city of Walker for your actions taken on October 11, 2019, you are hereby awarded the Citizen Award by the Department
Fantastic.
of Walker Police.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Good news as part of the agenda. I love hearing that. So, all right. Next on our list, Daryl, I'll turn over to you for the Schwallier purchase agreement for the Northridge West property acquisition.
Yes, included in your packet is a memo from Scott, and he can explain the details of that, but this is really the next step of the process of acquiring the property for our connection to Northridge. So Scott, I think, dropped off a copy to the Schwalliers, and you have the draft copy here that we're asking for approval for the mayor to sign on our behalf. And I do have the attachments that show the easements for, I think it was B, C, and D, so they're basically easements that we will insert into the description when approved. So, Scott,
Yep.
you have any?
I'm not sure if it's good to follow them or if we're going to ride the wave with some positivity
We're
here.
at the
but
top right now. Keep
we'll
it up
try.
there. We're good.
The agreement that you have in front of you that was in your packet has been through several staff and legal reviews. It's basically the same stuff that we've talked about in some of the legal sessions that we've had that got us to this point. I think I outlined one of the big issues here is that in this agreement, we wanted to make sure that we preserved the ability for the Schwallier's family, for their children to continue farming out at the orchard, outside of the right-of-way where the new road's going to go, of course, but to give them the ability to defer this assessment to the next generation if they wish to do that. So that's kind of the basic part of this. If they were to stop farming, cease farming, or if they were to sell the property, the special assessment would begin at that time. And then we would begin to recoup our cost over the next period of 10 or 15 years. I'm not sure if that term has been completely decided yet. So this, there shouldn't be anything new in the agreement. It outlines many of the conditions we've already talked about. We don't have a full sign-off from the Schwallier family yet. Talked to them as late as today, but didn't get a chance to really get a yay or a nay. But certainly we worked hard, almost as an advocate for them, to make sure that all of the promises we made are in the agreement with the legal team.
Good. Thank you.
So we'd be looking for the commission to possibly authorize the mayor to sign this, and I would ask that allow for some administrative adjustments. There may be some little tweaks. I think if there's anything of substance, we probably want to come back, but we don't expect that.
And I think to this point, I'll open up to the commissioners for questions, but this is what we had previously discussed. So there's no surprises in here, well within what we had established for a range. So I'm comfortable on that behalf. So I'll open this up for questions. Commissioner Kent.
How'd you know? So would our motion to sign this agreement be based on the Schwalliers, everyone signing? It would be, okay.
Becomes a fully executed agreement at that point.
Right, but I'm saying, yeah, we want to sign it, but once they've signed it, as long as they're in agreement with everything that's there.
Correct. And we do not have it back from the Schwalliers yet.
Correct.
And so as soon as we have that, then pending the authorization tonight, then I would move forward, sign on behalf of the city. But not until we have it signed back from them.
All right, thank you.
Other questions?
I'm assuming we'll get the title commitment.
Yeah, we have that, if you've read that, we have that period of time there to do our due diligence there and check all those boxes off. Once they sign and we sign, then we have, I forget what the time frame is, 60 days, I believe, up to 60 days. And then we'll verify all that and proceed accordingly.
And we really squeezed that too. That started out with a much longer time frame. We waved our arms and said, you gotta help us out. We gotta find a way to do this faster so that we can still get some decent construction numbers and hopefully get this done next year. So Jeff and his team have done a nice job of helping us out with that, squeezing some of these things. Hopefully we can even do it in 30 days.
And
Yeah, I just want to thank Frank, Scott, and Daryl for their work on this. This is a really important connection for us in the city, and boy, I'm so glad we were able to get it hammered out because that connection is something we've been talking about for a really long time, and the importance to the Northridge corridor that we've been investing so much time and effort on. So kudos to you guys.
lots of cups of coffee in the kitchen on this one. Literally. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you didn't tell us about the apple pie. I didn't know about that one. All right. Well, without any other dialogue or questions around this, I'll entertain a motion for approval to move forward. All right. Commissioner Heisinger has made a motion. Do we have support? Support from Gilbert. Any other questions or dialogue? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we're good to go. Thank you. All right, consent agenda, we have the expenditures in the amount of $855,404.63. Are there any questions on this? I don't think I saw any dialogue around this.
Just a comment.
Yep.
We need to buy more 3D glasses next year.
Did you look through those? Anybody look through those
Those are
outside?
really
Whoever had that idea, that was actually pretty neat experience, so that's good. All right, so we're good there, and entertain a motion for approval to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion.
Motion from Commissioner Kent,
I'll
support. Commissioner DeShane. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we can pay the bills. All right, next up is Resolution 19-546. This is Valley Site Farms. There's two parts to this. The first is the Act 51. Daryl or Scott, I see Travis back there too, but I'll turn over to you from an explanation standpoint.
Travis can give you a quick overview on, this is kind of a typical requirement when we get a plat, but Travis can let us know where it's at.
Good evening.
Evening.
Red light's on now.
There we go.
Good. As you know, this year's been the busiest that we can remember as far as private development goes within the city. Lots of water mains, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and roads being built. Some of those roads eventually become part of our public system. And that's what this Act 51 resolution for Valley Site Farms is about. The graphic that's up on the screen, I think Dan made that graphic, Frank, so that probably ties into his final plat acceptance resolution. But we'll use it. It's, that's the extension of the development. So this is west of Sunset Hills, north of O'Brien, There's a single-family residential development right there. This is kind of on the backside of, and then just to the north of there, there's a condo development, existing condo development there. This project started last summer and went all through the rest of this construction season. We actually had the final walkthrough a week ago. And to be honest, when we did the final walkthrough, I had my doubts if we could get things wrapped up in time for this meeting, but kudos to the development team for getting them everything that we needed. If you look through my memo on this Act 51 road acceptance memo, there's kind of 3 conditions. The first one is basically just referencing the next resolution. And that's because the final plat acceptance gives us the land for the roads, and then the Act 51 resolution gives us the roads and brings them into the public system today. So I've been in close contact with Dan Power. He had a number of conditions to be met. Sounds like most of them have been met or are being met. So I don't have any reservations on that issue. Item number 2 is the design engineer certification of grading and drainage. I received that, so that's good. And number 3 is the 1-year maintenance bond in the amount of $137,000. We received that today, so that's good. We did a walkthrough last Monday, some snow on the ground, but the streets were plowed, we could see things. We identified items that needed to be fixed, but too late in the game to fix them now this year. So they got to be fixed in the spring. This maintenance bond gives us that financial assurance that the punches items will be addressed in the spring. It also gives us our 1-year maintenance bond just to make sure that the road performs as we expect it to. So with all that being said, I'm confident that all 3 of these have been addressed, and I'm recommending that we accept these Valley State Farms roads into our public system effective immediately.
Commissioners, questions, comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion then. We're going to take these one at a time. Resolution 19-546, and this is to enact Act 51 for the Valley Site Farms and bring the roads into the public system then. So I'll entertain a motion on that one.
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Glanville. Support from Commissioner Groders. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Resolution 19-546 is passed. Next is Resolution 19-547. This is to approve the final plat for Valley Site Farms. Any other discussion, dialogue around this?
I just have one question. How do you pronounce that one street? Gale? Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah, I
Yeah. And I wasn't sure if it was a typo. I'm like, well, it can't be a typo, but I just thought I'd. All right, thanks.
All right, without further discussion then, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Commissioner Heisinger, do you have
Support.
support? Commissioner Glanville. Any other dialogue, questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 19-547 is passed. Next up, and this is, no surprises here, Resolution 19-548. This is to support construction of the non-motorized trail from Randall Avenue to 3 Mile Road on Kinney Avenue. Thank you for coming out, gentlemen.
Okay, Kinney Trail resolution, that's what we're on right now, okay. So we've talked about this, I believe, in the past. In 2021, we're reconstructing Kinney Avenue north of Waldorf Street. In conjunction with that road reconstruction project, we're applying for a Transportation Assistance Program grant to construct a bike trail to kind of extend our existing bike trail from City Central Park along Waldorf and then up Kinney Avenue. Right now we're thinking, hasn't been designed yet, but we're thinking the north side of Waldorf and the east side of Kinney Avenue. And right now it's going to end right there at the intersection of Kinney and 3 Mile and connect into the existing sidewalk network that then goes in to the North Wilson Industrial Park, connects to the schools. So there's a lot of good connections as it stands with just this project. This project's kind of part 1 of a 2-phase project to eventually connect the Standale Trail to the Pioneer Trail. So this gets us up to 3 Mile and Kinney, And then once we can get the bridge over I-96, the Fruit Ridge Bridge replaced, that's when that second piece of trail will be built along 3 Mile and Fruit Ridge and connect into the Pioneer Trail. That's kind of the main big picture plan here. So this Kinney Trail grant, we were able to secure Grand Valley Metro Council TAP grant funding for 2021. So we have the funding, we've got our application in to MDOT. MDOT requires us to have a resolution of grant application support. That's what's before you today. Assuming everything goes well through the review process and the grant is finalized, and we'll be back here to do another resolution that says we've got the money committed to do the match. It's 70-30 construction match on it, and just big picture wise, we're looking at, if you look at design, construction, and inspection, $500,000 project, and the construction portion of that is the grant match on it, which is about $300,000 of construction grant coming out of it. So this is just a formality to finalize our Kinney TAP grant application that's currently in MDOT.
Commissioners, questions, comments for Travis?
I'm very excited to see that this is going forward. Good job, guys.
Anything else? All right, I will, on that note then, entertain a motion to approve Resolution 19-548 to support construction of the non-motorized trail from Randall Avenue to 3 Mile Road on Kinney Avenue.
I'll make that motion.
Motion from Commissioner DeShane. Do you have support? Commissioner Glanville. Any other discussion, questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Resolution 19-548 is passed. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. No other public comment. You want, I know you want it again, don't you? You want to come back up? Public comment time, yes. Scott. He's just, yeah, I know you do. All right. Well, we'll jump over, and actually, I'm going to take advantage of Chief Long sitting here. There was a KCDA, the Dispatch Authority meeting yesterday. Take advantage this morning and take advantage of some updates from that. My favorite topic, the tower.
What's that?
My favorite topic, the tower.
So, I think I updated you last month. You can decide? Okay, sorry. I think I updated you last month. There's been some, well, many conversations about coverage for the city of Walker with the new 800 megahertz system. We discovered through different avenues that perhaps the anticipated, or the way they wanted to construct it would leave us marginal coverage for the city of Walker and then west part of Grand Rapids. So over the last 3 months, we've had some pretty spirited conversations in our board meetings, and we came to the vote last month that we are going to approve, or it has been approved, to erect a new tower, which will be constructed on the existing site at John Ball Zoo. The John Ball Zoo tower right now is approximately 150 feet tall. It's a monopole. It's pretty heavily loaded with some emergency communications, but more importantly, or more appropriately, it's loaded with 3 different private carriers. At 150 feet, the coverage into our buildings and into our area is going to be very sparse. So we talked about that, and the experts said, no, it's good enough. It meets the criteria of the contract. So the conversation revolved around what does the spirit of that conversation mean, and just by meeting the contract doesn't really mean that it's the right way to go. So we finally convinced our board and the KCDA authority that it's time to erect a new tower. Pretty marginal cost. It was going to be right around $300,000, but it gives us a 250-foot tower, which provides us with the penetration capabilities that we need for the city of Walker. So that's exciting news. The better exciting news we found out this morning is, well, we found out a lot of stuff, but one of the things that we found out during the process is that one of the major private carriers was not charged the new 911 surcharge fee. So it was a 45-cent fee for many years, and approximately a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, the voters approved for a 70-cent increase, bring it to $1.15 per device, and one of our major carriers was not charging that. The county took the lead on this and addressed that, and we were just advised this morning that they are agreeing to pay back $1.5 million. So that's going to go into the coffers, which is going to help offset any additional expenses. So as of today, as of today's update, all the shelters for the new towers are erected, in place, and they should be live by the end of this month, which means there's power to them, but of course the tower's not activated yet, but at least we have the shelters in place, the power's there. None of the equipment, some of the equipment's getting delivered, but none of it, not all of it will be in place by the end of the month, but at least our shelters are there. We have 7 towers that is either co-owned by KCDA or the county, and the last one was the John Ball Zoo, which we're hoping to have a groundbreaking there by end of this month, if not first of next year. So we're hoping that that goes quick. The delay is they have to do ground studies and soils, all that good stuff. It takes about 4 months, they said. So we think there's a 6-month window there where we can get that tower up, and then we'll be loading that up. We're still targeting the 3rd quarter of next year to go live. So this thing's been pushed back numerous times, multiple times, and every meeting we're having, they're continuing to reassure us, the communities that are represented, that 3rd quarter of 2020 is the target date. We still should be on target for that. And then the latest thing that we just found out is that through the public fiber network system, Grand Rapids is just about ready to embark on a new text to 911. There's currently 61 out of 82 counties that have that in place. Kent County is not one of them, but they're ready to activate that pretty soon. So with the new fiber enhancements, they're going to be pushing out, you'll see that very shortly, a text to 911, which will then, of course, incorporate the Kent County's dispatch center as well once their fiber is updated. We're within budget, which is good news. In fact, we're a little bit better than we thought, especially with that $1.5 million windfall. But we did make some budget reallocations within it. So we are still within our budget range, and everything's looking very positive. Now it's just whether or not we can continue to move forward with the towers and putting the antennas up on the towers. And I forgot the best part too about the new tower we're building. The county has agreed, in theory, we still have to lock it down legally, but in theory, to own that tower. They've agreed that any type of private vendors that go on that tower, or the existing private vendors on the monopole, which is going to be right next door, they're not going to tear that down. They're going to leave it in place. Any revenues are going to go to KCDA to cover the cost of this new tower. So we're anticipating within a 5 to 7 year window, we'll be cost neutral on this new tower through KCDA. So it's really good for all the communities that are involved. So really good information. We're making some good progress when it comes to holding our vendor to the fire, holding them to their promises, and we're definitely getting some momentum.
Question, go ahead.
I'd just like to say thanks for sticking to your guns on the towers, the radios. You know, it's been a problem for years, I think forever in Walker. So hopefully we get it done right the first time, and appreciate your standing firm on that.
Anything else? Yeah, I just, on behalf of the last 2 members we had from the city represent on KCDA, was the other Commissioner DeShane, and myself this past year. And one of the things we realized coming into this year is we're getting closer to fruition. This is the first time I've heard after multiple months of meetings that we're still on track. Mm-hmm. That date kept moving. It was like you're chasing something for the past year. So the fact that we're getting to that point, the technical aspect, the knowledge that you bring, and you originally were on this, and somewhere along the way it went to the elected officials and this is a board, I think even beyond my time, that will continue to have our chief represent us. It makes the most sense, but the heavy lift of that, the finance stuff is well on its way for good things. But I want to thank you because I obviously was hearing behind the scenes. You were great at notifying us the challenges we were having. There was some pretty intense dialogue taking place in these meetings.
I made some friends, and sometimes I didn't, but we had to do what was right. I mean, that was the position that most of us had. Was
key words being intense dialogue in the meetings.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it just, thank you again, because it got done. We're getting the tower, the monopole staying there as well, which is a good news. But for the Third Ward commissioners, this is really, really important for that area in South Walker where we've had patchy coverage over the years, and even cell coverage or radio coverage at times. It's significant.
Yeah.
So
and then when we hear the word marginal, it really makes the hair in the back of my neck stand up, because
Yeah.
going in, if we know there's issues, why aren't we addressing it from the front? So we did.
Yep, excellent. So thank you very much. All right, that being said, we'll turn it over to Commissioner and Manager comments and clerk comments. We'll start to the right with our clerk.
So my first thing is, as you want to have copies of the mayor and print or email you all the rest. I just got it late tonight, so, but I was called and asked to participate in a brand new project. It's called the Ambassador High School Experience with Granville Calvin Christian Schools. And there's a student that's a ninth grader. It's a brand new project they're doing, where they do some internal classes and then they go out and like work in an office. And this ninth grader wants to know more about, he wants to get involved in government and most importantly, city clerk and elections. So they reached out to me and asked if he could job shadow, and he's coming Thursday from 8 to 3, and then he'll do, I'm assuming if he wants to, likes what he sees on Thursday, it's 9 weeks, 2 days a week that he'll be at my office. So they reached out and asked if I would do it, and I said yes. And so sounds pretty exciting.
That is, that's a neat program.
Yeah.
Something brand new, though.
Brand new,
Yeah.
yep, brand new, yep. So that's happening. In the clerk's department, busy with business license renewals. We plan to mail our majority of our business licenses on Monday, tackling the final stragglers, but we're making good headway with it. Great staff, so we're plugging along with all three of us working on it hard to get it done before we roll into the presidential primary. Speaking of that, we're planning to mail our first mass mailing of our applications for absentee ballots next Thursday to hopefully beat the rush for the holidays, get them in people's hands before they leave, like the snowbirds, because it's going to be a tight turnaround with the holidays. Our ballots will be here about January 20th. We'll order our ballots December 20th. So I'm currently also working on selecting how many ballots to get that are Democrat and how many to get that are Republican. It's kind of like roll the dice. We are recruiting election poll workers, so I've got only about, basically till mid-January to figure that out, and so I need about 60 more people. And then I talked about Michael Dykstra, and then my only other question is I heard through the grapevine that we may be canceling December 23rd commission meeting, so that'll be probably Daryl when you get around to him. That's it.
To me, it's up to them.
Okay. All right.
The new Dropbox outside looks great.
It was there for a day.
Yep.
And now it's not there, I don't think.
Okay. I like the color scheme
Yeah,
of.
thank you. That
yeah.
was Daryl, actually. He said, make it green. And I'm like, sure, I'll go with the green. Stay red, white, and blue. But when they installed it, I drove it Friday. I left here about 1 o'clock to drop off my passports. And I'm like, that's not going to work. You can't reach it from your car.
Oh.
They literally put it this far back further than all the rest. So today it was dug up and they had taken it off the flam. So I think they're having to put a new platform down.
Wow, okay. No, I mean, just the green color,
Yeah,
it's
but it
very
does.
unobtrusive
It looks
and
really nice.
blends in well, so.
Yep. And maybe we could eventually get rid of the gray one and just keep the green one, for the city. But we need to see how many ballots come in there and if we're going to have room,
Maybe after next year.
Yes,
Yeah.
after next year. We
Yeah.
could go down to one for a while, for 4
Yes.
years.
If I can just jump in on the color, I did have somebody contact me and inform me that for those who are colorblind, it's not the best choice. So just said I would mention that, so there you go.
Good, thank
So
you.
what is the right color?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose not red or green.
Oh.
Because that's the
There are-
typical.
There are different,
Yeah.
like, types of colorblind too, so you can have different sets of colors.
Right.
So it's hard to pick a right color.
Red, green
Right.
is the main one that you should be aware of typically. So anyway, somebody contacted me, so I said I would pass it along.
to see the box. Next to the mailbox.
Just
this is how we're
Just the messenger.
Yep,
Understood.
good, thank you. Okay, good, all set. Commissioner Gilbert?
Yeah, so we had a while back now, our master plan open house went really well, lots of feedback. It was, really good, to hear from our folks, especially from the third ward. We then had the follow-up meeting where we were in attendance where we kind of got to talk through some of the major issues. I suspect we will have a little more discussion on some of the stuff that was yet to be discussed in that one. But really good direction, I think, that we got through those master plan meetings. Really good stuff. I have felt really good about the process that we've gone through for this master plan. I know we had some issues early on, but feeling really good about the direction we're taking now. Also on planning, we had another project coming into the Avistar development. German Auto is putting in a multi-tenant building. They're going to have a pretty sizable footprint there, but then the secondary building, so future building they're proposing, looks really nice to the frontage of Alpine Avenue on the south side. So it kind of fits the direction that we're trying to take that area. So really promising to see that kind of development come in over there. And then as the first commissioner to speak, I'll just mention Winterfest was also really great. So credit to all the city staff who helped put that together. It was once again an outstanding event.
Commissioner Glanville?
Yeah, a couple of things. I wanted to just recognize, I'm not sure how this happened, but that Walker is going to be hosting the MML, newly elected officials academy.
Happened through me.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah,
Yep.
so thank you.
Yep. Yep.
Has it? Great.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was happy to see that today. So there was
Actually,
that.
Mayor Bliss is going to come out and join us that night for a roundtable.
Oh, nice.
So something a little different.
Great, yeah. Walker Fest, of course, was fantastic. So thanks to everyone involved in that. This morning, unfortunately, I haven't been able to attend the master planning meetings because of my work in the evenings recently, but I was able to go to the West Michigan Sustainable Business Forum this morning, which was a really interesting, really strong panel discussion around, interestingly enough, utility affordability, support for low-income residents, that sort of thing. We had speakers from many agencies, including the MPSC. So just looking at different ways that not only community organizations, but local governments can rally together to help support what is rapidly becoming an issue here with the affordable housing crisis and the fallout from that. And that utility bills are directly correlated to homelessness, so that when somebody's having trouble paying utility bills, that's like a red flag right there. So if we can start working around looking at ways that as a community, we can focus on that. Walker doesn't tend to have, we're not necessarily a hot spot in that area, but it's definitely something we want to, stay ahead of. So pleased to be a part of that. And then I just wanted to follow up on my email from this morning and see if we could get more information on the mayor for a day, which has gotten so much positive response, but along with it, a lot of questions.
Surprising. Well, that one I can quick address. So I was asked a few months ago to provide these auctions now have gone to not just gifts like donating an iPad or what have you, but it's an experience, and they tend to get more money. And so somebody from St. Anthony's had reached out and asked, would you be willing to do this? And absolutely. So quick crafted something, and did not think it would get the traction it had. Fun day. I think I had just as much fun as Tommy did, spending the time, and thank you to the police, the fire, public works. I mean, we hit the three big ones. Chief Long, myself, and Officer Mitch took Tommy and his mom to lunch across the street, and just a good little time. Definitely open to doing these. What I don't, it's something that I want that experience to be, something like, in this case, somebody bid an auction, it went to a nonprofit, to a charity, and that was good. I like the idea. Somebody had threw out that idea of doing something every so often. Maybe they write an essay or what have you, and I'm definitely open to those ideas. Cool part of the job in being able to highlight that. We even did a little mini proclamation. He showed him how that works, and he actually said his mom and dad and his grandparents were the best in the world. So got the little gold stamp on there, and he signed it as mayor for the day, so a little honorary thing. So definitely open to ideas, and I think probably the best thing is just funnel them my way. I am very intrigued by the idea of doing something as an attainment maybe idea on a regular basis for different schools or what have you. So definitely open to the idea. So I caught Kendra for a couple minutes this afternoon coming in and just added that to the list of potential projects, so. Cool. Mr. Groders?
The dispatch information made me remember, we were always going to go on a dispatch tour. Is that still on the book somewhere? Or still
We
on
can
the
do,
back-
yep,
on
we,
the
we
back?
kicked it, I think that
Down the
last time
road.
kicked it, we had, I think that was the last city commissioner interview. We had a couple punts along the way that we had to keep moving
Pushing it,
down.
yeah.
So I'll look for something probably after the first of the year, so I'll take that as a takeaway then.
And great night at Winterfest. I'm happy to say that I'm an expert at temporary tattoos.
I missed that part.
I think I did about 500 of them.
That's awesome.
But honestly, Julie Wilson has done a phenomenal job with feeding Walker kids, and that was kind of the focus there was information about that. But I was just surprised that a number of the families that came through that said, these kids use that, these kids take advantage of that, these kids participate with that, and so I was really taken aback by what Julie had told me, that 47% of Walker kids are at or below poverty level.
They're on free and reduced. They're on free and they qualify for free and reduced lunch.
Okay.
So
But still, that just kind of really surprised me. So. But it was a great night. Had a ball.
Good, thank you. Commissioner Eisenko?
I was part of the ugly sweater contest at Walker Fest. It was great to see the different businesses around the area do it, and we had good participation with the voting at it too.
Very smooth, actually.
Yeah.
So, nice job. Commissioner Shane?
Feel like I'm repeating, but Winterfest, great success. I love the social media that went along with it. And I know that the Youth Commission was very engaged in a big part of that. And they've just been really excited this year. Master Plan, that was a great meeting. That was a wonderful follow-up. December 23rd, I will not be able to attend. I have a house full of people coming over to my house. Maybe I will attend. And I do love the mayor of the day. I love all the positive tweets and Facebook posts. I just think that's really a great way to engage young residents, old residents, everybody. Everybody just really enjoys reading about those types of activities.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Kent?
Winterfest was the first for me, so I wasn't working for a change. It was kind of fun to watch, so everybody did a lot there, and it was a nice program. Also, the DPW, I see more and more broken power poles disappearing, and they're paving at 3 Mile, and then at Bristol, the gas company went out and put a hole in the road for us, but when I called about it, that morning they'd already patched it, and it's a temporary patch, and they're working with Michigan to get it straightened out, so good to see things keep moving forward.
Good, thank you.
One quick item, our application for planning director, zoning administrator, that process closed on Friday. We received 9 applications, so Shannon and I are sorting through those. Dan's last day is December 20th, so we're preparing. I'll fill in as much as needed, and then we're also going to have some administrative support from McKenna when it comes to processing and different public noticings and those kind of things. So we will keep you informed going forward.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Just a couple things, again, Winterfest, thanks to Kendra and Mary Kay, especially in the Whitman staff, for having to get a lot of time and effort into that, so, all the commissioners for being there, it was an awesome night. Also, Jason, our new IT director and manager, has started last week, so try to get him in here. One of the opportunities, been a little busy this first week on the job, visiting all the departments, but great to have him on board, and he's got a big list to tackle, so good having him here. And again, thanks for enduring the UAB presentation. I know a lot of that is
Interesting.
it takes a long time to understand that, but Molly, really the does a good job, as well as the staff there, so it's a great partnership. It's really something that we really don't want to get into as a city with, providing sewer and water utilities. There's a lot that goes into that, especially with now with all the PFAS and all that stuff. Grand Rapids has a really good handle on it and a good reputation and good testing measures in place and everything, so it makes us very thankful that we're part of that system with Grand Rapids. And then just a couple other reminders. Tomorrow, we have our library visiting session over at the Ice and Fitness Center, a session from 11 to 1 and then 5 to 7, kind of an open house forum, kind of come in, tell us what you think of some different ideas, and we'll also be having a Survey Monkey survey if you can't make it, so I think that will be going out tomorrow, probably in an email blast. Also, I think Kendra sent out a blast today to everybody that's on the e-newsletter and everything, so just as a reminder, so we'll see what kind of a turnout we get for that. And then there's neighborhood watch meeting, I think tomorrow night also at 7 o'clock at Station 3. And then Wednesday at noon, we have our staff lunch, so if you can make it to that, it'd be much appreciated. At noon at the Ice and Fitness Center, so we'll be giving away our Years of Service Awards to our employees that have been here for milestone years, so always a fun event and much appreciated by the staff. So if you can make that, that would be great. And I'm all for not having a meeting on the 23rd, so. I don't have anything, I don't have any agenda items. I know a couple meeting ago, we talked about the Edison House listing, so that's still in the works of listing for that, so we don't need a meeting for that at this point on the 23rd. That will still be an open time frame there. So.
That hasn't been posted yet, right?
Correct. Okay. Yeah, still working on with Jeff.
Legal review.
So, yeah, thank you.
So on that topic then, is there, I have nothing on the agenda either, so between the managers and myself, nothing on the 23rd. Commission, any need to hold a meeting on the 23rd? Going once, going twice, so we will not have a meeting on the 23rd. Head nod side to side. So I have nothing further to add, just obviously a very good week. A lot of his Commissioner Grovers had shared earlier, just a lot of positivity for the city coming out, and just very blessed we have. And I think seeing Scott and Travis back there, sometimes I always hear the feel like kicking the dog at times, because we're talking to them about so many different things and challenges, what have you. And I took a drive through the weekends. I tend to drive around the city and look at the different developments and see how things are going. And I go up to was up in the Northridge and see where visitors have started clearing the land. And I just think of, I was speaking with our former mayor, and when you look at that and look at Walker View, and I actually happened to stop at Felk, North America, and I caught the president by happenstance with his two kids. So I got a tour of this immense, huge 288,000 square foot building as it's being staged, and the cranes are just starting to move. And, really when I think about the infrastructure and so forth, there's, while we set policy up here, we rely very heavily on the two guys sitting in the audience to help us with, can we do this, can we not do it? What do we need to do to make this work from water and sewer and roads and all of that? So I realize it's not just us approving things up here. It's you looking at the plans and helping us. And I feel very comforted. Dan Power is going to be a huge loss for us because of how far he's come in his 4.5, almost 5 years. But I know we have a plan and we're covered. So I sleep well knowing that right now. But you think of what the three of those specific individuals have done for us, as well as our managers. We just are in a very good spot, and a lot of good media PR as of lately with the growth. And I think we're having some foresight and being smart about this, not putting ourselves in harm's way. So that being said, I have nothing further. I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting. Support from Kent, Heisinger to Kent. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Meeting's done.